You are now listening to The Art of Reinvention by TeflonJohn, where my goal is to inspire you mentally, physically, financially, and spiritually. And I just want to help you grow the garden of your mind. I just want to change the world one person at a time by giving them motivational advice, inspirational advice. And right now, I'm glad that you're tuning in to the podcast show. So we want you to sit back, open up your mind, and just absorb all the content. Please share this content across all of your social media platforms as it will help this show grow. Sit back and enjoy. One love. Be blessed. Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's your boy TeflonJohn coming to you courtesy of the Art of Reinvention show. And today we have a power pack show. We have one of my best friends, someone who has really helped me get where I'm at today on a professional level and on a branding level. We have Victoria Watts.
Hi, guys.
Glad to have you today.
Yes, sir.
Glad to have you. Glad to be back in the same area. You know, I got to catch you because you fly a lot.
Catch me? I got to catch you.
Oh. And so, what I want you to do is kind of, just introduce yourself to the people. Tell them who you are.
All right. Hey, guys. My name is Victoria Watts, and I am the founder and executive director of Let's Talk Fashion Virginia. We are a local company established as a platform to help push and promote emerging fashion designers and creatives right here in our Central Virginia region.
Okay. Yeah. And so Victoria, like when I met you, like we just were like visionaries. We just always talk and, doing this, doing that, hey, well, I want to do this. And I remember you were helping me like flyers, logo. So I know you have a lot of brand awareness,
Mm-hmm.
So what is your advice to someone who is trying to do what we're doing and create a brand for themselves?
My first piece of advice with that is to really, the first thing I would say is really understand your purpose and why you're doing what you want to do. Because the first thing that people connect with, they're not going to necessarily connect with your brand first. They're going to connect with you as an individual first. And before we got started, I know you were talking about a little bit about the networking. But that's one key piece of advice to remember is that know who you are, what your purpose is, and what you're doing, and sell that first, who you are as an individual, before you even sell the brand.
Wow, okay. And I know that we've talked before, like, so how do you feel like when it comes to building a brand? And I remember some advice where you gave me where I struggle with trying to be myself versus trying to be this overall articulate person. Like, how important is being authentic in building a brand?
It is very, very, very important. The best way to, if we're talking about selling, but the best way to get your message across is to be able to, you first relate to the message. So you can't relate to a message that is not authentically yours.
Yeah.
So you definitely have to be in tune with who you are as your authentic self. And sometimes, we start out on the wrong foot, but you can always revive yourself. But if you can start out really just being yourself in what you're doing and authentically putting your message together, that's really a great way and very important thing to do as you're building your brand. Okay,
when you talk about messages being together and, you're involved in Fashion Week, you're looking nice today. And every time I see you, you got your hair done. And that's really what I like is you're promoting fashion, promoting marketing, and it gives you a professional look. How does someone get involved in mirroring what they want to do with who they are?
So my, piece of advice for that is you definitely have to be what the message that you're trying to convey, and what you aspire to be. So, a lot of people always say that, you're very fashionable. It didn't always start out that way. If you ask those that are close to me, they're like, yeah, she kind of evolved a little bit. But, if I'm going to work to push and promote fashion, I have to figure out how that relates in my own life. And so it just kind of came that way. And, with the fact of pushing emerging fashion designers and the fact that we have so many independently owned, unique retail offerings here in the Lynchburg region, well, if I'm walking around talking about fashion, I have to figure out where I can find it at. So, that was just a major part of really showing people. And whenever people ask me, well, where did you get this or where did you get that? I only shop in my region, which is Lynchburg. So that just reinforces the message that I'm trying to convey with it, which really coincides with that buy local, think local, shop local, support your local people, your local designers, your local stores here, which helps our economy as well.
Okay. Now, how did you get into fashion? Like, how did you get into fashion as a brand, fashion as a passion, and fashion as a business? Like, how did that come about?
So as I said, uniquely, I went to school for engineering. So it kind of, over time, I got into the whole fashion thing, which you were a part of that first experience. Yeah. Let's Talk Fashion Virginia actually started out as an event in September of 2016. And the reason why I put that event on was because I had several individuals and friends who had these really unique businesses and endeavors, but there wasn't any platform for them to share them from. And at that time, I also saw the lack of diversity of body type in the different fashion shows that I saw, and there was this concern that people of a curvier figure or a taller figure, they said that they had nowhere to shop in the Lynchburg region. And I said, well, I'm pretty sure, because I only shop here, that there are places that you can shop. Yeah. And so we put together this event. We brought in a personal stylist, a makeup artist, our health and wellness coach, and a high-profile blogger from the High Point area. And each of one of them did this session, which related to basically creating your own personal style. And then we did a fashion show with tall and curvy fashions from local retailers. And after that event, I was just like, okay, we did it. Cool. Yeah. And then people started asking, well, when's the next thing that you're going to do? And I was like, I hadn't really thought about it. Yeah. But we established the company Let's Talk Fashion Virginia in 2017. And the first thing we tackled was finding the unique locally owned retail. So we did pop-up shops. And then also the establishment of Central Virginia Fashion Week, because a lot of surrounding areas have fashion weeks, but why don't we have that here?
Gotcha. And I love what you do, because everything you do is so professional. You know what I mean? Like your Instagram posts, LinkedIn, Facebook is always like, you have a certain standard. And I see how fashion can kind of help transcend. It can make you feel better, talk better. How can fashion transcend a girl to a woman, a lady to a woman? Like, how can fashion play that important of a part in a woman's life?
That's an interesting question. I think the best way to answer that is through my own personal experience. And, I think that as I think about the question and my own personal life, that my style has changed from, when I was a young adolescent to when I became a mom, and then when I became a wife, and then becoming a mom again. And, we have twin girls, and, and then being a business professional and all those things. So I think that it really speaks to the evolution of a girl into a lady or into a woman. It speaks about where we are in life, because oftentimes our clothing resembles I think that an individual's clothing resembles a lot about who they are and how they think and what they feel. So I think that you can oftentimes interpret a lot about a person through their clothing.
Yeah. No, really, yeah. I'm glad you went there. Because I think it's clothing for women. I think it's the standards are different for men. And it's crazy because. You know what I mean? Because I really want to go there. Like when you watch Love and Hip Hop or VH1, or it's almost like that culture pushes like breast out, tight clothing, like trying to reveal your body. So, what advice can you give a woman like how to be sexy and confident and not be too revealing? How can you pull that off?
So recently I was just featured in the blog feature in the Power Women Collective, and
great article,
it was,
by the way.
Thank you. The interesting part about that was it was a strong and sexy photo shoot. And so one of the things that I said about that is that being sexy and being confident is oftentimes it doesn't even begin with the clothes. It begins with how you are on the inside. What you truly feel about yourself. And so I think that the more confident that we are within ourselves, the less we have to reveal of ourselves on the outside. So if that makes a lot of sense, you know,
it makes a lot
so
of sense.
I think that, you know, building up that inner person and really honing in on who you are. Just a random side note, you know, today as I was going out, I had several different meetings today in regards to what we're doing, and all day I kept getting stopped, and it was really awkward for me because I kind of don't like to pull a whole bunch of attention, all this stuff. But people kept saying, you know, I just want to let you know that you're really beautiful. And I just was myself. I had on a blazer, I had on my pants because I had meetings all day. But the only thing I was like, well, Victoria, what's different? Like, what is really different? And I couldn't identify anything except for what I was working on today is what I'm passionate about. Yeah. And so from the inside, that inner beauty and that inner love on the inside is really what shines on the outside. And people see that. And of course, you know, it starts with the love that we have from ourselves, the love that we have, you know, from God who gifts us with our abilities and our things to do. And that's the only conclusion I could come up with that. But really, back to your question, is that it really starts from within. And the more that we understand who we are within, the less that we, as I just said, have to reveal ourselves on the outside.
Now, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Did you know you were beautiful before someone told you?
Yeah, I've always felt very, like, pretty. I've never really, for the longest, I was very tomboyish, like, when I was younger.
Not
so
Victoria.
I didn't, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I was really just, like, closed. It didn't, you know, not until I got older and I went into a profession. And then it really, like I said, just kind of, once I said I was going to do Let's Talk Fashion Virginia, it's like, well, you better figure out how to dress now. So, yeah. Yeah,
because I feel like the pressure is on women now. And it's, I think it's rough because, like, for men, we have no standard on, like, body type, body size, body hair. You know what I mean? In shape, out of shape. As long as you're a man, you take a shower and you're good. But I think the thing is that I feel sorry for women is just like you all get up and you deal with so many issues, hormonal issues, you know, menstrual cycles, you know, bloating, not bloating, hot flashes, you know, gaining weight after having a baby. And I think it's so much pressure to live. But I think if a woman knows she is beautiful, you know, she doesn't do anything to promote someone to say she's beautiful. Like the motives of how you dress is just, I'm dressing to feel good versus I'm dressing for you to validate who I am.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and that's so very important. Like, there's a stark difference between waking up in the morning and getting dressed to bring attention versus waking up in the morning and getting dressed because I love this outfit in my closet and I cannot wait to put it on because I know it's going to look good. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
You know, so you know, the epidemic of, or I don't know if epidemic, that's a really strong word, but, you know, I think with the whole social media and all of that, that has not created, but it has enhanced the so-called epidemic of women aspiring to look and be a certain way. You know, and so my thing is, you know, if you have to cut back on social media so that you can really figure out who you are, please do it, because it makes you a better individual for not only yourself but those people around you, because you have to understand that as women we affect a lot of what goes on around us, you know. So when we're not 100% or when we're not, you know, where we need to be as far as our energy, it ripples out to everybody around us. And so the best thing that, you know, okay, so now we're going on this tangent of self-care. You know, you really do have to invest in yourself and make sure that you feel about yourself what you're supposed to feel so that you can be the best person you are for the people around you. Yeah,
women run it, you know. And I'll be the first to say that. I mean, Beyonce was right. I mean, girls run the world. As far as from a standpoint of, like, you know, in body and confidence. Because, you know what's worse than, like, a good-looking car? So, you know, picture whatever car you love. Imagine it, armor rolled up, tires, rims, nice candy paint job. You know what's worse than that? If you found out you went in to turn the key and it had no engine.
It had no engine.
No substance. So for you to be beautiful, curvy, implants or not, perfect teeth, makeup or whatever, and you didn't have substance. Someone can't hold a conversation with you. You know, you don't have any goals, any dreams, any admirations. You know what I mean? No intellect. This is what real men care about. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I think that sometimes that fellas, we are 80%. I would say 80% we're responsible, because the pressure for a woman is to figure out who she is, where she has to fit in, and then you're living in the age of almost like the single parent. Mm-hmm. And for her to try to bounce back and find a good man, now she has pressure to find a man that's good for her and her children. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it's like, I think the bar is set too high for them and not high enough for us. Mm-hmm. And I think that fashion is something that helps a woman embody and give her courage. Even on those rough days where I got kids, I got dressed and all of a sudden the kids spilled something, or I got to work on time, but the kids are draining. So could you get into how mothers, how important fashion is for a mother that may be going through single parent mom? Like, how can fashion help them?
I think that fashion helps because, you don't have to go out here and spend tons of money to look good. I shop at local stores, and honestly, I have like an average ticket of maybe $12 per item. So, that's just me. So I think that when you find a few good pieces that you put them on and you feel really good, I think it can transcend your day and your outlook, because sometimes we look at our closets and we're just like, this piece is torn down, it's worn out, why do I even have it, but I got to put it on. And recently I did that myself, where I went through my whole closet. Like I had about 60 pieces.
Wow.
Okay. And I did this rummage sale and I sold some of them, and then I just gave the rest of them away, because those clothes were from a past season that I wasn't in anymore, Wow. And I felt very different. And so I said, if I have to get rid of all of this so that I can feel good with what I'm getting ready to put on, then, I'm going to do it. I'm not a single mom. My husband is there. We have 4 children. But, as a mom and as a wife, you have to find those. Sometimes we can't always step away and take like a week-long trip,
Wow.
But we have to find those meaningful moments, which may be just getting dressed and wearing something that you like. Those small meaningful things, we have to invest in those, because it does help to transcend how we feel about ourselves and how we go about our day. Today, like I said, somebody was saying something about what I was wearing, and I said, this is 1 day out of 5. So I don't always look like this, but when I have a day and I got to get stuff done, I got to get it conquered, I wake up excited about what am I getting ready to go put on, so I can, look the part for what I need to do.
Yeah, clothes make a difference. I know when I got hired at my new job, and I could put that uniform away, like the khakis and the polo shirt, it made me feel like a boss,
Yeah.
Like I had the title of, like a boss title, but it actually made me embody that position, those, responsibilities. And I felt like I was walking upright.
It empowers you, because the thing is, when you can choose your clothing of choice, it empowers you to walk in. Like, you can now create what you want to see, so now you're in management. Next thing you might get you a 3-piece suit. You might be in ownership,
I'm gonna have to do it.
So
when we leave here, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. Like, when it comes to fashion and when it comes to like dressing, do you feel like, how people say, like, you're treated the way you present yourself? And if you notice, like in I guess in the royal family, back in the day, and you had the jester. He dressed like a clown. They treated him like a clown. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? But what's funny? Like, you never had to ask who the king was or the queen.
Right.
Because they set it in a appointed place. They wore garments that let you know. So I think in this day, it's like so many people want the respect of something that they're not dressing like. And to me, if you want to be treated like a wife, you dress like a what? A wife. If you want to be treated like a husband, dress like a husband. But I think so many people want to be treated and respected as like a young man. And you're out here, pants hanging down. Real tight shirts showing your boxers. And it's hard to walk on a job setting and demand respect. And you know, being an African American male, it's very important how we dress, because as you can see, the climate now is really changing as far as how we are perceived, as far as how people will actually deal with us. And I think it's very important that we understand, like, business casual, you know, street dress, and when and not to dress that way. Yeah, so fashion can really be, to me, life or death. Fashion could be, you know, money or no money. So how do you feel about it? Because I feel just like, you know, I think the pressure now for a young African American male in our country, you know, sometimes if I want to dress or start, like, I'm business casual now. So if I just want to throw on some jeans, you know, my cuts in them, American Eagle, some Jordans, and a shirt, I feel like if I'm pulled over in a bad spot, I'm already prejudged. You know what I mean? So sometimes I feel like if I just dress up a little bit, I feel safe Monday through Friday than I do on the weekends.
Yeah, man.
Sad but true.
Yeah, and I definitely have a thought on this, and it's going to be a little... I'm going to speak from the position of fashion because my experience is in business and networking and making connections. And, you know, I know that you're definitely, we know we had the issue with African American males, but in my thought process and how I process that, I think that from just a minority perspective, that male or female, you know, we always have to dress above and beyond because you can be in, for instance, I went into an establishment today. I had my blazer on, my slacks and everything like that. And I had to go do like these measurements because I got my life insurance policy. And there were 3 clipboards, and one was for drug and alcohol testing, and the other clipboard was for, you know, you to get your statistics for your life insurance policy. And I walked in, and the lady said, "I'm not sure which one you need to sign, but I'm pretty sure it's the one in the middle," which was for the drug and alcohol test. And I just gave her a look, and I signed the life insurance one, and she just kind of looked, you know, because the thing is, you know, there are certain perceptions that we, despite what we do, some things we just can't, there's nothing we can do. So we just have to do our best. Yep. So I live under the impression that, you know, you can never be too overdressed. You're right. You know, if you walk into a casual atmosphere and you've got a suit on, what's the worst perception that they can have about you? He's a businessman, you know? He's got money. Exactly. So in my perception, you know, a lot of people interpret, as I said earlier, they interpret a lot about you by what you wear. And so I am of the persuasion that no matter where I go, I don't care if it's business casual. I've got a blazer on and some crop pants and hopefully a heel. You know, that's why I have a pair of heels, and I typically wear them all the time. I would like to wear flats, but I know that I need to be perceived differently for what I'm working to accomplish. And so that's kind of my thought process on that. I mean, and I totally agree with you, because I believe that in the climate we live in and just how life is in general, that you have to be beyond the part, because what happens is you're not on even playing field sometimes, being a minority, you know. I believe that if you show up for job interviews, sometimes you feel like you have to beyond dress the part, beyond speak the language, beyond, you know, sell yourself. So I think fashion is the one thing that transcends you, because before you open your mouth, they judge you upon what they can see. And if you look neat, if you're well put together, if you're well groomed, to me that kind of gives you more of a chance to even be heard. You know, even like from a dating point of view, or someone trying to sell and get someone to invest in their vision. Sometimes, like if you look at Shark Tank, when they walk in, the first thing they see is the person. Right. You know what I mean? So I think, you know, like what you said, especially as we get older. I remember Jay-Z had a song called Change Clothes, and he was talking about, you know, no more throwbacks, you know, jerseys is button-ups. Right. And I remember he was getting clowned for it, but then you look after so long, you know, after your age, you know, when is it time to grow up and dress as an adult? You know, I think so many people try to hang on to what's in the past and to the trends that they're afraid to be an individual, you know. Because I feel good when I'm dressed up, you know, whether it be chuckle boots, khakis, polos, or whatever. You know what I mean? It just, to me, gives you options and makes you feel like an adult. Yeah, I definitely believe that. You know, it makes you feel like an adult. You know, you feel more professional.
Mm-hmm.
You feel like you're really, I think specifically in being an entrepreneur and you're not going to a company, you know, it speaks a lot about how you carry yourself within your business.
Mm-hmm.
And that can depend on, you know, what your business is. But I think in any business, you know, we had a mobile food trailer. And one of the things that we talked about was polos and khakis. Even if you're making food, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it just really puts across an image to that person, because that is the first thing, as we said earlier, that people see is they see you and they interpret who you are before they even receive a product or before they receive a service or anything of that nature, before they decide to invest, you know, before they decide to partner. So I definitely think it's important.
Yeah, because I remember when I first started doing like motivational speaking, thanks to you, you know, with your Let's Talk Fashion event, I was like, yeah, this is something I really want to stick with. And me and my friend had a conversation. We were talking about Eric Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
And there was another friend that was like, hey, John, man, like, why you got a picture with a suit on or a button up? Like, and my friend was like, hey, because he was like, well, Eric Thomas wears shorts and baseball caps. And my friend spoke up, I was like, hey, Eric Thomas is established.
Right.
You know, so in order for me to get into a corporate level, I have to look like the people that's, you know what I mean? Because you really fill out a place where you're trying to get into a game. You know what I mean? Like if you go to an NFL game, they have on NFL jerseys.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you go to an NBA game, they have on NBA jerseys. You know, if you go to a fashion event, everybody's dressed fashionable. So I believe you have to look the part and dress for the environment that you're in.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe so many people don't understand that, and they get so full of themselves that they don't realize that until you can present your idea, until you can be heard or speak or spoken to and have a conversation, people will judge you upon what you look like. And I feel like there are people in life that are missing out on opportunities and investments because they fail to change. They fail to look the part. Do you agree with that?
I agree with that, definitely. You know, as an individual, as a brand, as a business, you know, you have to make sure that you come up to par with what you're trying to do. You know, I think I've rebuilt my website like 3 times. And I think that, you know, when I started developing just the graphics and the logos and things for Fashion Week, you know, I wanted to make sure that it was something that transcended across, it didn't just cater to one type of person, if that makes sense. I wanted to make sure that any individual could relate to the brand. So I didn't build it just for one type of demographic. I built it so that it could transcend across different demographics without losing the message or the originality of what it is. So you have to look the part. I've had this conversation with individuals, and they, you know, a lot of them, I think people have a difference of opinion, because some people, you know, they like the lean startup, do what you can with what you have. I definitely believe that. But I also believe if you have a good image when you start doing what you can with what you have, it'll make the conversations a little bit easier, you know, to get into certain doors and things like that.
Yeah, because people don't invest in, and when people thinking about investing, or from the spiritual aspect, sowing, you know, you talk about sowing on good ground. I think people will, like if you go bet on horses, or if you bet on the NBA finals, you want to go with the team that looks like they're doing good. You want to bet on the fighter that looks like they've been in shape, the one with the most wins. So how will your appearance, or what, you know, in your branding, how would that look to the investor? I like to look at it that way. Like if someone was to bump into me and never seen a video, my speech, like the way I talk, like what I say, how I carry myself, you know, the way I talk, like all that to me creates that brand. You know, and I think fashion is the last thing, because if someone's saying, hey, I like to meet, you know, John, you know, you was on John's show, and if you say he's over there, all they can do is look at me.
Right.
You know, so if I'm like shirt with a lot of holes in it, you know, just real baggy pants, it doesn't match the look. You know, it's like we talked about earlier. And then it becomes more like a personality, more like a costume, and the brand isn't authentic, and then you lose followers. No one wants to follow something that's fake. Now people are looking for authenticity, and they're looking for something that they can kind of relate. And people are looking for someone really that they can follow and, to embody. We really live in a leaderless society now. And so you know how you click follow, people are really, it's too many followers, so they're looking for someone to actually follow, that they can have their ways, be inspired by them, be motivated by them. And so I think fashion is one of those things where you can kind of look at somebody's picture and be like, whoa, that's a nice outfit. That's what I want to look like. You know what I mean? And that's one thing I love about pictures. Pictures are worth 1,000 words because there's no audio. There's no audio. So you got that one picture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So is there anything that you would like to talk about? I would love you to break down your fashion week, when it is. This is an amazing flyer.
Thank you. Yeah, so definitely Fashion Week, Central Virginia Fashion Week will be happening in October of 2018, which is this year. It'll be happening Thursday, October the 25th through Saturday, October the 27th. And there will be several different things going on, but it's really to embody, promote, and give a platform to local independently owned retailers, emerging fashion designers, aspiring models, and majorly talented hair, makeup, and nail artisans. We'll open up the week with an open networking event because I'm a big advocate for networking and making new connections. Then Friday evening will be a emerging fashion designer show. Saturday morning will be a pop-up shop and brunch where you can actually shop the fashions from the designers that were shown that Friday night. And Saturday evening is going to be a hair, nail, and makeup artisan show.
Wow, that sounds like a full, fun-packed, busy, productive weekend,
Yeah.
So definitely I'd like to have you back on the show at least twice just to promote that. But getting you back on is definitely like a must, like a part 2, how to break down fashion, what to wear, because I feel like a lot of our followers need what to wear, like to job interviews, break down the basics, like you don't have enough money. What do I need to do to get a job? Like, how should I dress business casual?
Yeah, and I definitely have some great people that we could talk to about that. I kind of only know what works for me, but I do have a great resource of people within Let's Talk Fashion Virginia that are personal stylists and that can break down. One of the designers, one of the key things he told me, he said a man should always have a gray, a navy, and a black suit or something like that. And he was just talking about like the different shoes they should have and things like that. He was like, if you got these 3, then you can change out the tops and the ties or something like that. So just those small things that you need to know. So I definitely love, maybe we could bring them on and talk about that.
I would love to.
Yeah, and we can come back talk about networking because that networking is essential.
Oh yeah, if you want to build your net worth, you must build the net worth. you must, because you can't do it on your own.
No,
can't do it on your own. Everybody has a piece to your puzzle, and I believe that's how it was made. And you build connections. It's like Wi-Fi. With strong connection, you can pick up anything. So yeah, it was great having you.
Yes,
great
sir.
having you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I look forward to you coming back.
Okay.
Like I said, I would like to thank her because of her event. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got into this whole motivational speaking realm. Like, that one event lit a fire. Now, I was going to lie to her. Because when she asked me to be a speaker, like, I was so fearful of, like, oh, man. You know what I mean? So, I just said yes before I could outthink it. And now I had to do it. And part of it was, like, that showed me that once you do something one time and get over that fear, you become comfortable and you really live for your gift, and then your gift will make room for you. And here we are, me in front of the camera doing a show because I did one event. And so you never know what that one thing that you'll do. Just to wrap up, fashion is great. Fashion is very important. Fashion helps transcend confidence. Fashion helps, one just embody the confidence of whatever they're doing, whether it be a job, whether it be a role in the family, So just, remember when you're dressing. Dress for yourself. Make sure that your motives are right when you're picking out your outfits. And you will always feel good. Never dress for other people. People are finicky, so you're forever changing the trends. You know how it is. Please them today, they don't like you tomorrow. So, as I always say, good to have you.
Thank you,
always got to have you back. One love. Be blessed. We would like to thank you for listening to this episode of The Art of Reinvention by TeflonJohn, and we encourage you to share this episode across all your social media platforms. And we also encourage you to visit our website at www.imteflonjohn.com and follow us on all our social media platforms at facebook.com/realteflonjohn, twitter.com/realteflonjohn, and instagram.com/realteflonjohn. And while you're on Facebook, go ahead and like our page so you can receive first-hand notifications every time we go live with a motivational video or any motivational content. And as I always say, one love, be blessed.